Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the TB&J podcast. Across from me is my co-host, Troy Brittingham.
That sounded a lot better, Jeff. That sounded a lot better.
Thank you. Chris, how you doing, buddy?
2 episodes in one day.
D, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great, Jeff.
Awesome. Theme song time.
TB&J! TB&J!
It's amazing what the power of Ricola can do for you.
TB&J!
Not sponsored.
That's the official drink of Game of Thrones by Theon.
I thought that was Starbucks.
Yeah, I thought that was Starbucks.
Ricola.
All right, everybody. We watched Peacemaker on HBO Max, which is the sequel / spin-off show from James Gunn's Suicide Squad that came out last year.
I believe the word you were looking for was spin-off masterpiece.
Yes.
Masterpiece.
Yes.
I don't know how I feel about Peacemaker's first name being Christopher.
Because he's kind of an asshole character.
Also a racist.
Slightly.
And a sexist.
But he does weed with the janitor, so that's cool.
Ah.
No, they're really bending and changing what we might assume about him because a lot of this game, but like there's definitely the after credit scene with him and Amanda was her name? Miranda?
Amanda Waller.
No, Miranda, who was the person. See, it's okay. It's the woman that is simping for him, that loves him as he kidnaps her, and then he sleeps with her, and they pan over to Vigilante, also still in mask, but also naked in bed. So all three of them, to imply, which we don't understand yet, was this a Devil's Triangle with no gays? Was this an implication that John Cena's character Peacemaker, Chris Smith, is that his name?
Christopher Smith, yep.
Wow, pretty basic.
Wow.
No, Smith.
Yeah, you're Carol. It's like you have like a Merrily part of your name afterwards.
Basically a superhero. You got the alliteration and all. It's fine.
Yeah, you're the Reed Richards.
I could be in Hollywood.
You're the Reed Richards of this podcast. The Peter Parker.
Peter Parker, the Clark Kent.
Hell yeah.
So
the Bruce Bane. Yes.
Okay, so yeah, so it's like John Boehner's brother.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, this is I don't know what they're doing with that whole sexuality thing, but like I'm very intrigued by all the layers they're doing with this.
I'll admit that's not even in the summaries here on Wikipedia.
I am fucking standing on this show a little bit because it's really good.
So should that be a thumbs up, thumbs down?
Oh yeah, thumbs up, thumbs down.
So D sounds like a thumbs down.
But his dick is hard, so it's kind of like an up
in
and a down.
reverse. Yeah, it's three thumbs up. The third thumb is my penis.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
I am a big fucking thumbs up. Holy shit, this
Jeff,
show's
you've seen
awesome.
like 2 minutes of the first episode.
That didn't take long.
It didn't. It really did. This show hooked me so fucking fast.
Apparently not enough to watch it.
I was tired. Fuck off.
He's doing a lot. All right,
Troy.
I'm going to give, this is exactly like the Boba Fett thing. I'm going to give a bit of just an antagonistic thumbs down. I like it. I think it's a little too James Gunny for me.
I don't mind that. Chris, are you sold on this or no?
It's not a show I would normally watch. I just watch it for the podcast, so I'll give it a thumbs up just because I'm having fun with it.
I love that you said that because that is exactly how I felt about The Boys. I watched trailers for The Boys. D, I was over his house one time. He drunkenly was like, dude, you got to watch the trailer for this fucking show. I watched it and I was like, okay. And he was like, no. And he pulled me into his fucking basement, a true story, and sat me on his couch.
for like 3 weeks, he wasn't allowed to leave.
Yeah.
And
he
made
put on
sweet love to you.
No, he put on The Boys season 1, episode 1, and made me sit there and watch at least the first 15 minutes. And whenever I tried to talk, he would say, no, shut up, watch. True story, this happened. And I watched the fucking Boys, and I was like, all right, this is amazing. And that's the same kind of vibes I'm getting from this show. Granted, it's not as, like, graphic yet. Or, I'm sorry, it might be. It's not as, like,
Jeff, you haven't
seen a woman get orally raped yet. I'll put it that way. Okay.
No, I wouldn't call that the same. No, I see what you're saying. I think Boys is a little bit
I feel like this is a perfect like tide me over until the boys comes out in June.
Yeah, it's a different vibe. What you were saying. I'm gonna go back to what you were saying about James Gunn, and James Gunn is. I think he's like my favorite pulp director right now. He's doing amazing things. I liked the Suicide Squad. I've liked him since Slither. Right. I've liked his stuff. I followed.
You've been sold on James Gunn since like day one.
But he's definitely being given, and he has worked for this. Great relationship with his actors and his dad and like all this stuff. And he's very Hollywood. He's coming off like borderline Quentin Tarantino-y. Mm-hmm. And I'm worried about the continuation of his kind of like freedom. Like,
right.
And don't get me wrong. I don't think, while Quentin Tarantino has had ups and downs with his stuff, I still think he is one of the greatest, one of the continued auteur directors that are out there that are capable of producing a quality work just by name alone, and he's doing it with pulp, right? He's doing it with comic book stuff, with sci-fi, with all this stuff, and it's really good. It's just that sometimes he's a little bit too excited about his own stuff. Like I've heard literally, don't get me wrong, I love the fucking opening. Like, do you want to fucking taste it? And every time I watch it, I'm like, no, I really enjoy. I
do really want to taste it.
I do want to taste it. Like we should call this
especially
podcast.
When Cena was in his hospital gown and it was all
it.
open. I want to taste it,
dude. He does not give an F, and why would he? The guy is glorious looking, and
he's richer beyond all means.
And I like. Akin to how The Rock won me over the years of just being
a genuine person,
just awesome.
Did you hear his family got COVID?
The Rock.
Yeah, they couldn't smell what he was cooking.
Yeah, I was wearing. On a similar
I
note,
heard the suspicion in your voice.
On a similar note, did you hear that? On a similar note, did you hear that rapper Eminem is opening a vaccine company?
No shit.
Yeah, you only get one shot.
Well, this podcast had a chance to blow, and now it does.
I agree with what you said about James Gunn. I feel like the man does get a little too excited about his own work sometimes, and when he does something, you can very obviously tell it's James Gunn. Like I showed my fiance Guardians of the Galaxy for the first time ever. She missed all of them. And she was watching it, and she knows who James Gunn is, and she was like, "Oh, did James Gunn do this movie?" And I was like,
font.
"Oh, yeah, he did. How'd you know that?" And she was like, "It feels like he did it."
It's the font. There's a James Gunn font.
Really?
Yeah, the text fonts, the opening scrawls, everything is in it. It's James Gunn's kind of like. It kind of has like a heavy metal, like the old 80s cartoon thing. Like
yeah.
It has kind of that like metallic, which is exactly what his whole thing is. It's all 80s rock, right? Like that. And don't get me wrong, Guardians of the Galaxy is obviously 70s rock, right? Like it's different
Guardians
aesthetic.
1, 2,
but
a little 80s,
he
but yeah.
clearly is pushing like an 80s aesthetic with this because like the muscular. Everyone's a Rat fan.
Yeah.
Or the Choir Boys. Is that a real band, by the way? The Choir Boys.
I know very little about music in general.
Okay, so
I feel like I've heard the name before.
I think so too.
I think it's a band.
It does lead to one of the absolute best lines, and I think it is the end of the first episode where he's going through
Choir Boys. Yeah, real band formed in '79.
Spelled with a Q.
And
the line that he delivers is like, "This is fucking real music." Like back when men were real men and they weren't afraid to dress like women. It's delivered even better. That it's such a like that's exactly everything that they write for Cena. And Cena just understands the character to such a level and is having so much fun playing this character.
Oh, yeah.
It's letting him really show some chops. Like at one point, I think in the second episode, he does his own impression of the of Diebeard, I can't, economist, the tech guy.
Right.
He's like
the guy in the van.
Yeah. He's like, I don't even know. Like, I can't even think of it. Like he does, but he does have a distinctive voice that if I hear it, I can't do the impression. But like Cena just goes into it like flawlessly, and I'm like, shit, dude, like you're legit, dude. Like I love the range, and I love the precipice. The first episode opens with previously on Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
And immediately the female's like, "What the fuck did we miss?" And I'm like, "Stop! It's in the previously in the movie. We didn't miss an episode."
Yeah.
But like the whole character movement of Peacemaker is a direct continuation of his fight with
Colonel
Flag.
Rick Flag.
Yeah, Colonel Rick Flag, and then
which is my absolute like pivotal moment of the movie. Like that to me is just the best moment of the film. Like the reveal that he's the thing into the fight, well kind of choreographed. Like it's the first half of it is like in the reflection of his helmet, and then he gets the best of him, stabs him in the heart, and then delivers what I think is just a brilliant line for how it was written and delivered of just Peacemaker would joke, and
Perfect.
And like it echoed in my head as I heard it, and you can see in Cena's face when the line is delivered how it affects him, and then they carry that over because by the second episode when he is bawling his eyes out, going,
Crying
"Peacemaker, what a joke!" and he's repeating the line like it clearly did that, plus like the 5 months in rehab to think with his problems, and then the talk with the janitor. Who's basically telling him to raise
that was so fucking funny.
And then the realization of his father, being this conflicted thing, and him not wanting to be that, and there's clearly which further adds to complication if he is in any way bisexual, and like it just makes like perfect sense. Like I buy it. I think it's just a beautiful like continuation of that story, and this is it's just a really cool universe that I like to live in. They name dropped Batmite. He's now canon.
Did they really?
See, that's part of it. I don't know how I feel about it because that's like, all right, now Amanda Waller has known about multiple dimensions now for apparently some time.
I feel like Amanda Waller is kind of like this like Deus Ex Machina in the DC universe, where it's like, oh, Amanda knows about that. Amanda does this. Amanda knows everything.
She's their Nick Fury.
Yeah,
she is their Nick Fury,
which
You're
is a
absolutely
weird,
right.
interesting parallel because usually it's Marvel that has the flawed character version of things, whereas DC has the more purist versions. And you would think that like they would have the pure spy kind of government black ops person, but they have the conflicted one, and this is why the only thing that I've really seen, well, that's not true at all, but the one of the big things that I've seen Marvel fail at like mimicking from DC is their Suicide Squad. They don't have a good version of the Suicide Squad or like what they did, and it's the one thing where DC really went in their regular universe went to like a conflicted like anti-hero storyline,
right.
And there was like I remember there was an absolute one like version of it in Marvel where they had a ton of like Juggernaut and Bullseye and this they had like a Black Ops team, and it I liked the idea, and then I just remember everybody just being like, "This is just the Suicide Squad and not nearly as good." And I'm like, "Oh, okay."
Speaking of Peacemaker, on his DC Extended Universe wiki page, would you guys like to hear all of his aliases?
Sure.
Aliases: Peacemaker, Pissmaker, Guy with a toilet seat on his head, Douchebag, Racist Superhero, The Letter P, Dipshit, Nancy Boy, Piece of Shit, Evil Supervillain Jackass, Dick Vampire, Fucking Dick, and Chris.
Yeah,
And-
that
sounds a lot like my aliases.
The toilet bowl one.
I was gonna say you do have a
Yeah.
toilet seat on your head.
So this is Troy. I want to. What was you said you didn't like some things? I don't know
So,
what either.
I think that for me, it's just sort of the general sort of everything that you said. I agree with and like it, and I want to point out, just like the Boba Fett episode that I was talking about, we talked about before this. I do like it, and I'm excited to do more of it. But I also was sort of like, I just don't think that the James Gunn sort of like, it's a little like too super raunch, all the time. Like there's not like Suicide Squad had that, but it like every now and then toned back and was like, okay, here's seriousness. And I feel like this was mostly a comedy all the way through, which I think is just maybe just expectation stuff.
I don't think Suicide Squad was much like that. I think I think what's the other thing? I think The Boys is more like that. Like they get a little more serious. And
there's
but this is all constant like jokey heightened reality, and it's much more jokey. Like regular, it's everything is played for farce, but this is kind of the hyper realistic stuff that is getting, I think, a little bit more traction these days. Like The Boy, like it is the deconstruction of the superhero. Continuing, we're in that era of the cinema, and it's great. But the fact that he can make him walk around in his outfit all the time and make it fine is just like I love it. And this is where I want to get to. Vigilante is first of all, the costuming on Vigilante is absolutely gorgeous. Like it looks really cool. And don't get me wrong, Vigilante has always had like a neat aesthetic, and I think the updated versions are really pretty spot on with this. But they make it look really good. It looks really cool, and I like the entire thing.
I'm looking at his original costume now. It looks fucking dope.
Oh, let me back up this. Go look at his publication history. This is what I realized as I looked him up. I definitely I knew that he was some kind of background character, and in roughly like the mid 2000s, they rebooted a series. This is where I'm like fanboying a little bit. Where I'm like, my comic guy told me to pick up the first issue of like his thing like a long time ago. I wonder if this will like eventually pick it up. But the worth. But either way, 1941, this character starts.
Yeah, holy
there
shit.
are also like 7 or 8 different people that have taken on the vigilante mantle. This is the one that is Adrian something, Adrian Banks or something. I forget the name they're going with, but and his character is a bit different. They're making him like a childhood friend of Peacemaker, and this is I love the character. They've basically taken the character of Carmarthengal Michael or something, whatever, from Rick and Morty.
Oh, I know.
Who's the character? You've probably seen.
Oh boy, I just love killing.
Well, here I go killing again. Like he's an assassin that doesn't care about killing anything, and that's exactly what they're doing.
Oh, but you only kill bad guys, right? No, just
it's like,
families,
when
kids.
I crush the brain of someone that like sold or did heroin or put some graffiti on the wall, like, do you think I like that? And he's like, of course I do. He's like, and you do too. Like, and because he's making him feel better about his crisis of faith, and it's like, oh. So this is the only part that made me a little bothersome because I was loving this character. The other great scene of this is when he goes to kill. They tell Peacemaker to kill the entire family, kids included, which has been his MO, right? Like, I don't care how I love peace, and I'll kill every man, woman, and child to do it. But he blocks out of this, doesn't shoot him, and it's a great another moment where Vigilante taps him on the shoulder. He's like, "Hey, big guy, come here. Go over here. All good." And then he just starts humming along as he plugs away and kills kids.
I do love the humming.
It's a beautiful. It's hilarious. But now we have. So let's put it on paper. We have another. Let's go to Suicide Squad. We have the introduction of Bloodsport, the played for laughs jokes of Peacemaker being literally the same guy on paper, and then but him being a joke, ridiculous version of it, completely unserious, not to be taken seriously. Then revealed to be the main villain that is the antagonist by the end of it.
Right.
This is exactly
minus
Starro, where but the representation of Waller, right? So this is exactly where I feel like Vigilante is going, because they've literally been like, he is clearly has the same exact skill set as Peacemaker. He is played for laughs. They are clearly showing you his homicidal tendencies, and it's like, well, of course he will be that. Now, I don't know if that's going to be because he's betraying them, because they've also noted that he does not like he literally, they're smoking weed in bed together at the end, and he's like, I can't believe they legalized that. So like he's clearly like the only line that he has drawn on like he will kill people for drug use, like like that, like is that all I have to say is like, clear, this is what I mean, like you could easily see Waller getting to him and making him fight against them. Like, absolutely. And this being a betrayal or whatever, or they're not your friends, or, however, because this is so funny. But like, I do see that. I don't know if it's going to be that or if it's going to be a possession by a butterfly. I don't know which they're going to go with.
Right. There's a lot of avenues they could take. You are absolutely right, by the way. 8 people have been in the vigilante suit since 1941.
So
And he had a sidekick introduced in 1942 called Stuff the Chinatown Kid.
this is classic stuff where
that
they
seems
love,
like something they could put into the show. It's like just racist enough for them to be like.
I could see it. I
Yeah.
could see it.
this is where I see them like the costume aesthetic is so awesome, and they've never been able to nail the character, and I'm pretty sure they're about to. Like it's happened.
Yeah. The other thing is, I think a lot of this is just expectations the baggage I came into it with, because the other thing is, it's like a weird sort of in between of like, it is still a DC property, but like I keep forgetting it's a DC property throughout the show, which is sometimes not negative, but
And not without like clear references to it
Right.
constantly.
and then it's also between the boys, like DC and the boys, where like the boys is this sort of same sort of raunch and serious and realistic deconstructionist type of stuff, but it's also like the boys is smarter and sort of about
It
has more of a
bigger
political
message. Not that this is without it.
Right,
You know,
no, absolutely.
This absolutely has a lot of but more like social stuff
Yeah.
than the like
they're sort of in a backwater
hard political.
They're sort of
kind
in a
thing.
backwater town where like everybody's kind of racist.
Oh,
Yeah.
the
The prequel
character
trilogy.
White
Daddy
Dragon, is he racist?
Well, I think
Well-
when you're latching onto Troy is the fact that like deconstruction era comics works better for shit DC stories.
Yes.
Like shit, like ones that, and what I mean by that is that Marvel doesn't deconstruct as well usually because they're fairly complex characters, and DC tend to be much more iconic, very cookie cutter basic, and it's a lot more fun to deconstruct those characters. So you have a Homelander Superman thing; those work better when you deconstruct them, just like Marvel will do. They'll add but all of their characters are oh well, what if we had this character, a very powerful hero, but he had normal problems, or what if our Superman is also Lex Luthor? Like, what if he has a split personality, or like Moon Knight is the a split personality Batman, and like
Like Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, they're the archetypes, they're the genres of superhero.
So the only way DC tends to work is when you deconstruct their characters much more, and even when you try to make them gritty, it doesn't always fly unless you're fucking Christopher Nolan, and barring all of his problems in directing, you could still make it compelling. Like
The Dark Knight, for all of its problems as far as comic book lore goes, was a good movie.
Yeah, and when you have an auteur director taking DC stuff on and can add their own things to it, it works. But doing straight on stuff like they would, like Marvel has been doing more or less, is it just translates better, and DC is seemingly translating better. And what's the best kind of version of that in Marvel is Guardians, which Gunn directed and created, and they are a ridiculous group. So like I do think that Marvel should go ham if they want to with like a New Warriors or any type of like of their I don't want to say ridiculous pop because I fucking love New Warriors, but like their kind of B-list stuff or C-list guys, and then making them good. Like that's where the money is. Mm-hmm. That's where I think it is. And Marvel didn't pick up until they started doing their B-list stuff too. So
Yeah,
start there.
That's a good point. I honestly don't remember very many people at all being like big Iron Man fans until Downey Jr. did the role. I don't remember Iron Man being the big at all. It was mostly just like Spider-Man.
Speaking of, you know what I heard? I don't know if you know about this, but like, there was, I'm sure, and I don't know how much of this was speculation, or like, I don't know how much of this was like if they made Marvel in the 90s, who would play them, or if it was like, but I'm pretty sure they were pushing Iron Man to get to script and get to stuff, and it was attached to Tom Cruise, kind of famously.
Yes.
And what I've heard is that Tom Cruise has been vaguely interested in doing a Spider-Man type alternate version of Tony Stark, like as has been going on lately, as and this would be interesting to be like, it's the alternate version is not someone who's played them before, but someone who was like attached to play them.
Well,
That's kinda funny.
whatchamacallit, Jake Gyllenhaal was supposed to be Spider-Man at one point, and he ends up being Mysterio.
Right.
Yeah. In the current Tom Holland verse, that is.
Yeah,
which
but
may
he
or may
was-
not be over. Who the fuck knows?
He was supposed to be cast as Spider-Man sort of around the Tobey Maguire era at one point. So
Oh,
Jeff,
so,
there's no way. So it made so much money.
yeah, but you got to remember, like,
Disney likes money. So does Sony.
they do, but they don't like sharing money. Lawyers can do whatever they want. Who knows?
I think their animosity has made the best 3 Spider-Man movies I've ever seen.
Oh,
Yeah,
absolutely,
it's
it
true.
has.
So this is working, and I just want you to keep it. Just keep.
yeah,
going.
they can't break up entirely, but they also can't work out their problems, and then that's how you get the perfect Spider-Man movie. They just have to always
They
be
need
fighting.
to keep up the
There
drama.
has no. Well, there is. Look, there's a lot of gay theory to that idea too. Like, there's a lot of you need that tension between the different forces, which is why. Let's bring it back to Star Wars. The original movies are a very strong group effort with one leader, but absolutely directed by different people, focused on different people, and then the prequels are this singular vision of garbage, like on various levels in comparison. But I think that's exactly what.
and
we're
then
seeing.
the sequels is the opposite, where it's too much fighting between two directors.
yeah.
I think that's not even fighting. It was just refusal to
Yes.
engage.
It was a dick
know?
measuring contest.
Instead of
Well-
instead of engaging and making it work, they just were like, no, how do I fix the shit you did? And it's like,
Right.
that's not the same thing.
Yeah, and it would have been better if they had started the sequels with an actual storyboard or a line. Like, this is what's going to happen here, here, and here. It's up to you to tell that story.
Everybody says that, but the other two trilogies didn't really do that much either.
No, but they had Disney went into that wanting a different director for each of the 3
Right.
movies, which is great as long as you have one unified vision.
Yeah.
So that's the part they missed. If you want different directors, great, you got to have a different vision. Or you can do what Lucas did and just be in control. That way there is a unified vision, for better or worse.
Right, but
and
I
for
mean,
the prequel trilogy, they had an endpoint in sight.
yes,
Yeah, they knew how they were going to end 3. It was just a build up on how to get there.
No, I know. I just like to antagonize that point a little bit personally.
Disney
you're,
fucked up.
Yeah, you're really good at antagonizing us.
I try not to blame JJ or Ryan Johnson too much for the failures of the sequels.
I
try to
generally
blame
bl-
Disney 100%.
I generally blame JJ.
JJ
personally.
definitely fucked it up a little bit, but how much of that was his hands getting tied by Kathleen Kennedy and Disney?
I just personally think that the biggest mistake was to bring him back. I thought that I personally really like Last Jedi. I think it's the best.
Bringing him back was a mistake, but is that his fault?
No, I mean obviously not. It's you get asked to do a Star Wars movie and you say yes. It's the whole thing.
So Robert Patrick is in.
Yeah, thank you.
show
Thank
as
you,
well.
D. Thank you for bringing us back on fucking track. Jesus Christ. Yeah, Robert Patrick, who I've loved forever. He's a fucking terrific actor. He always plays that gruff army dude in any movie he's in. He was in, the first time I saw him was in Walk the Line. He played Johnny Cash's dad.
Really?
He was
Not
perfect for
Terminator
that.
2?
No.
He's the
'cause-
fucking T-1000, bro.
I know, but I
and-
first saw him in Walk the Line.
And do you know who his brother is?
Somebody, Patrick?
Richard Patrick, the lead singer of Filter, original guitarist or drummer in
That's why I don't
Nine
know.
Inch Nails.
Shut the fuck up.
Yeah, dude's got cred on many levels.
Well, you just made Jeff cream his pants.
Yeah, he's it's neat. But I've always loved this guy. He also, took the completely thankless job of taking over for
Oh, yeah,
Fox
he's
Mulder on the
the-
X-Files.
To clarify what D said, he's the touring drummer for Nine Inch Nails, or touring guitarist, excuse me. Nine Inch Nails officially is and always has been Trent Reznor.
Yeah, I'm just saying he was in the band
Yeah. I'm just saying. I was
when
just clarifying.
originally, like head like a hole. I'm pretty sure he's in the video.
Yeah, because he's a touring guitarist. Anyway, continue. It doesn't matter. It's not part of the podcast.
It's okay, D.
Well, Robert Patrick plays a very lovable, very respectable character in this show that has no. I think my one problem is he just doesn't have enough flaws.
Although, listen,
I think the only way he could be more of a Republican is if he was a balding racist.
well, I don't know what they're
You see
saying
what you-
here when they have, the what is it, Battle Talk or whatever. It's like their Infowars
It's like
show
fact
that he's
check
watching.
or something.
Yeah.
Whoa!
Battle,
It's
fact
nothing.
battles.
It's nothing like Infowars.
But
the
if you
very
listen to
correct-
what he's saying, you know what they're doing? They're taking over. They're taking over. They got these alien body. They're taking
Right.
over their brains in the Senate, and it's like literally the plot line of the senator that that are mind controlled by these butterflies, which are apparently an original creation.
Oh,
They are
cool.
not a,
Okay.
unless people are saying that they are connected some way to the blue beetle scarab thing,
Right.
which is already like
I've-
lost on me for the
I
most part.
have
except for
already-
I know what that guy looks like.
I have already kind of a point that I have made outside of this podcast is I do think that we're getting to a point in time where I think that movie comic book stuff should start making its own stuff
Yes.
every now and then. And I think that this being like a thing in TV shows, if it kicks off well, then I think that
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
a
Could
fair
be
point. I mean, they should always obviously have their own thing, and do you have to make everything like in the end, even it's just the movie version of this, or they tie it together with it, so if this does get tied back to that, does that cheapen it or what? I don't know. I don't know. I do like what I worry on that end is like then. That's a complicated thing because, like, in comic
very
books,
fan fiction real fast.
in comic books medium, like the thing is like the whole message is like stop doing another version of the same storyline. Stop doing Phoenix again. Stop doing like Dark Phoenix again. Stop doing like the multiverse thing or Infinity Gauntlet. Don't do Civil War again. Stop rehashing the same stories and create original villains. Don't bring back Sabretooth, have a new X-Men villain or do something else. And it's always the newer things that people that did catch on that eventually make it into the new stuff. Like just Nick Fury's Samuel L. Jackson version is a perfect example. But even more is like the stuff they did with Extremis in Iron Man, where it's like that.
Spider-Verse is a huge one where now we have like 2 or 3 Spider-Verse things, and that's a pretty recent one.
And just like do the new stories and bring them in. But I don't know what that happens if like you're bringing the new stories in here and you no longer need the core content. Now
that's also
the other side of that is, are you just ripping off comic books and not giving them, because they should really be getting credit for these things when they should be making movie money. If
that's
you're
a good
taking
point,
their
actually.
ideas.
That's
So,
a very
like,
good
it
point.
is- I see both
Oh
sides
no,
of
this
that.
isn't Civil War. This is the
The
good
War of the
guy
Civils.
battle.
Humanitarian fight.
Yeah. I that is one point of it. The other point is that comics have been around for so goddamn long. There's very little they haven't done.
Yes.
So like you can try to make your own story as much as you want, but there's gonna be some nerd in his basement saying, actually that happened in Action Comics number
I
471.
think
did it.
I think I'm mostly talking about characters than like actual storylines for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think there could be like a cool like villain or something like that they come up with who's like, this isn't really based off anybody. But I mean, that's also kind of everything's been done too.
Yeah. I mean, the Middle Eastern terrorist Bane was a new concept that came out. They just borrowed the name from the comics.
It's also true.
And he was reviewed mixed. So
What do you mean? Everyone loved me.
I hated Bane.
But Harley Quinn's version is amazing.
Harley Quinn's Bane is amazing. And that's the voice you're going for, I think. Right? It's fucking perfect. Harley Quinn on HBO Max, amazing show if you haven't watched it. All of you watch it right now.
Also,
Especially if you're watching Peacemaker.
I haven't watched it yet, but I'm doing this podcast. Do I also have to watch it right now?
Yeah. Pull it up on your phone.
Yeah, just pull it up on your phone. We're not doing anything important.
But should I
called
have the volume
multitasking,
on?
Troy.
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
No, let's get sued by HBO.
Any
No.
final words? This is going to be a short one, I think, because I have to leave. But no,
At
any
least
other
he's honest,
thoughts
folks.
on Peacemaker? Which, I really enjoyed all of this. I talked about most of the parts I really like. Robert Patrick is amazing.
Steve Agee is in here too. He's
there's-
fucking amazing.
There's I like all the side characters. Is that they call him Diebeard.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Johnny Economos.
they're good.
Is in here. Jennifer Holland is in here. Like fucking all these characters are so fucking amazing, and everybody's doing their job so goddamn well. And as always, whenever it comes to the TV stuff, DC seems to hit it out of the park. And then when it comes to the movies, they seem to either bungle it or just barely squeak by. And I really hate that. 'cause
Every
I'm
now and then you get a Wonder Woman and Shazam.
every now and then you get
Every
a
now
Wonder
and then
Woman.
you get a Wonder Woman 84.
Yeah, you get a Wonder Woman, or you get the Suicide Squad, or you get Shazam.
You
But
either get
most of the
Suicide
time-
Squad or the Suicide Squad.
Shazam is good.
Exactly.
Shazam is good.
That's what
No,
we're
that's
saying.
what I'm saying.
Every once in a while, you get a Wonder Woman or a Shazam who's really good, but then sometimes you get stuff like Aquaman or Justice League that's like falls flat.
Yeah.
And it's
But everybody buys, and I still don't get Aquaman.
So the one thing I do want to say,
fucks fish.
this episode does start with some Aquaman slander, and I thought that would make you happy.
I did like
It was
that.
hilarious.
And
does.
the constant running joke of
Also, Jason Momoa does that in real life.
of John Cena. Just because he gets octopussy doesn't mean that.
Jesus.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, the joke works.
So I just love the running joke that John Cena believes everything that is on the internet.
Oh,
or
it's such a
he's
great joke.
You know,
I guess then Facebook has been lying to me for the last 5 years.
yeah.
Why would Pepe the Frog 69 on Twitter lie to me about that? So fucking funny. I love his character so much.
Can't lie on the internet. It's illegal.
Exactly, right? But this show absolutely makes me want more. I'm kind of disappointed that it's only going to be for like a month. The last episode airs on February 17th.
How many episodes is it?
I think that it's only 10.
10? Okay.
Yeah, the last episode airs February 17th.
That's not that bad then.
Yeah. What are you talking about?
I
That's
thought you were
like-
going to say 6.
That's like
No,
the-
but like I want...
That's like
10 is
that's
like-
like double the episodes that all the Marvel TV
ten
series
is
have.
10 is like my standard bearer. Like 8 to 10 are the best. And
No, there's 8. I'm sorry, there's 8.
Okay, eight. That
Eh.
to me is the
Eh.
one that does it. And
I'd rather
but
have 10.
you could have 10, but I feel like if you have 10, you have
50.
fillers. You like you're allowed 2 fillers with 10. Or a clunker to get you going or something like that. You know, like you need but like if you're gonna do 8, like if you're gonna do 6, it better be fucking bangers, which I'm just like
Which Boba Fett
Hawkeye
is only
into.
6.
Like right, and
Yeah,
so far
Hawkeye,
I'm good.
Hawkeye with 2 more episodes is suddenly a much better show.
Exactly. Like it's like I think it's you get better. You can have a little bit of that, but I think that 8 is the
You reminded me about
standard bearer.
this is just a real quick fun fact. With the Hawkeye TV show, Jeremy Renner passed Robert Downey Jr. for highest paid Avenger
Interesting.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Jeremy Renner?
because he had more screen time when you include all the Marvel properties. So now he is
I mean,
officially the
that's
highest paid
fair.
Avenger.
Highest pay, that doesn't mean the same thing.
He's made more money per second of screen time than RDJ has.
Okay.
That was like the official like measurement. Because Robert Downey Jr., if you like divide his salary by seconds of screen time, he made 15,000 a second. But Jeremy Renner made 18,000 a second. If you
Okay.
count
I mean, you get
Hawkeye.
a lot of Hawkeye hour. You get hours in there, but like, I still feel like you. All right, whatever. All right, fair enough.
Yeah, it was just an interesting thing that.
Yeah, but RDJ also made sure that his coworkers got a lot more value
Sure.
per second of screen time.
Jeremy Renner was,
And all they had to do was who played the young Hawkeye again? Haley
Haley Steinfeld. Yeah.
Steinfeld. Yeah. All they had to do was cut her pay by like 30%.
Yikes.
It's just commentary, people. I don't like it.
Yeah. Anyway, so that was it for Peacemaker. Troy, are you excited for the rest of this show?
I am excited for the rest of it. I will say this as the excitement level sort of thing. I did take a break after the second episode, like a 30-minute break before starting up the other one. So I don't know if I'm like as adrenaline pumping need to start the next one as everybody else, but I am excited to see more of it.
Chris?
I'm only going to watch it because we're doing the podcast on it. It's not my thing.
You're gonna eat those words.
But The Boys, though, that
I
is
might.
your thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you all for listening
God,
to
I can't fucking wait for The Boys. God damn it.
June, man.
God
Coming
damn it.
soon. Coming super soon. It'll be on us before you know it.
Listen, man, it's hard to not get enough of Love Sausage.
And only 2 years later, Stranger Things will be out. I can't fucking.
I think you're the only one of the four of us that care about Stranger Things.
It's because I'm the only cool one here.
That's true.
You're the only one that has 80s nostalgia.
You keep saying that. You've made this point to me so many times that you're like, you only think the older people. A lot of people watch fucking Stranger Things that are our age.
I know. I just don't know any of them.
Jeff, that's because you have no friends.
Yeah, that's fair. Anyway,
Caitlin's been on this podcast.
speaking of friends, thank you all for being here. If you liked what you heard, please leave us a kind review. Please like and subscribe on YouTube, and tell all your friends about us. Because
Hold on.
we need
D
to-
looks like he's going to explode. Okay.
I'm good.
Okay.
Yeah, he's good. He's just
Oh
gonna
God,
beat me up later.
he's crying.
He's oh my
Why
God.
is he- Are you okay?
He's wrapping the microphone cord around Jeff's neck.
Oh man,
and his own neck at the same time.
That's
It's a
not gonna
murder
help my-
suicide.
not gonna help my throat at all.
None of this is true.
Yeah, no, none of this is true. D is a very, very pacifistic man. He loves peace, and he doesn't care how many men, women, and children he has to kill to get it.
Or Jeff's.
Thanks again, all of you. Enjoy your lives.
Especially you. You know who you are.
Ted.
Bye. Who the fuck is Ted?
He knows who he is.
Here I go killing again.